Hello, my beautiful and most amazing Madison High School students. I hope that you all are having a really fantastic week. I know that it's been a little bit of a challenge with the weather and everything, so I'm going to try to do this next part fairly quickly. So this week is kind of our last week in just some base level, just kind of literature. We're going to do mostly check-ins from here on your final book. So this week we're going to look at speculative futures. And what I'm asking you to do is read on not defining science fiction and then watching the video. Afrofuturism is not just black sci-fi, which these are both good contextualizing pieces for what you're going to read this week. The other thing I wanted to call your attention to, I gave you links to a podcast called Old Gods of Appalachia. If you've ever heard of it, it is a speculative fiction horror podcast based in the Appalachian Mountains about like what lies beneath our mountains and like the what if speculation of things that are like underneath that are like burgeoning coming to the surface. And so, enjoy these. These are a really nice little taste of speculative fiction, especially with our local area, the Appalachian Mountains. So, for our choice reading, you can either pick Habit of Waste by Hopkinson or Blood Child by Octavia Butler, depending on what you're feeling. And so, what I'm going to be exploring today is your speculative futures. PowerPoint so that I can kind of give you a little bit of a taste of what you're looking for in regards to speculative fiction. What I want to take some time to do, though, is go over your final. So click on the 232 book play final. Okay. So what you're going to see here is you're going to see the directions for the final exam. So the final exam, which will start like this week ish, going into next week, is you're going to pick a book from American literature or a play. Either is fine. And I have them linked here. So I've got novelists and novels, and then I also have um, plays and playwrights. So what you're going to do first is you're going to create a reduction that kind of synthesizes all the elements down, but you're going to create a virtual exhibit, which will be a virtual museum exhibit that incorporates not just the piece that you read, but you'll also be incorporating two other works into it that are complementary or have similar themes, and you're going to trace how they have effects over the American lineage. So, in this, you have to have biographical context, cultural heritage, changing the narrative and context with that. And then you have to create a multimodal art piece that would be a piece of public art that would be displayed. And so I'm going to show you an example of that and it will be posted. But for the meantime, because I know that sometimes when you look at this the first go around, you might be like, oh my God, that sounds like so much. And that's totally fine. But what I want you to be thinking about is right now, what is the main piece that you want to read for your analysis? And then you're going to choose two other complementary pieces that have similar themes or conversations. Okay, so what I have here is I've got poetry, short stories, nonfiction, and media art from different perspectives here. Okay, so that's what I want you to take some time to do, right? For the next couple days, is just kind of look through the directions and figure out what it is that I'm asking you to do. Okay. All right. So, what we have going on this week, once you are done reading a little bit of whatever it is that your pieces for your final, you're going to do a discussion board here. No AI is permitted. Make sure that it's your own thoughts. We will do an annotation on The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas, which is an Ursula Le Guin story, science fiction. And then you'll be doing an American literature multimodal essay for your reading response 5. So, what does that mean? So, what you're going to do is you're going to look at a contemporary piece that we've read recently, and you're going to look at how it complements something from earlier in American literature. The only thing that is the requirement of this reading response is that it is not alphanumeric, which means it's not written. So I would like to see either a video essay where you video yourself talking about a concept, a podcast essay or audio essay where you are recording yourself discussing this, interactive digital project, or a visual argument infographic. The only thing here is that it cannot be written. Now, I have a written reflection component that talks about like what you need to have in here, but the specifics of what you're talking about in regards to an American short story or short piece and how it traces some sort of concept earlier, that is what you're going to be focusing on. Okay. All right. So that is going to take us all the way through next week. So, in the meantime, for the next few days, as you are developing your ideas, just reach out to me. I know that there are several people that you may be lacking some, like an updated grade or two. I am working on a couple of them, but if you have a discrepant grade or something that I haven't gotten to in a while, please feel free to nudge me. I'll come back to it. All right. So, without further ado, I'm going to give you a little introduction to speculative fiction. Okay. So this is going to help give you a little bit of context on what we're doing here. Okay. Speculative fiction. All right. So when we look at speculative fiction, like when we're really like exploring like what is speculative fiction, what is science fiction, what we're doing is we're looking at a genre that specifically blends um, scientific concepts with storytelling that's imaginative, like Frankenstein. We also have other authors like Asimov, Ursula Le Guin, Blade Runner, Twilight Zone are all pop culture references to science fiction or speculative fiction. Speculative fiction, or the pieces that we're reading, is literature in the last 100 years that focuses on futuristic settings, technological advancements, scientific discoveries, and things that are generally like a what if scenario in our reality. It kind of began with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which, if you take 242, is a piece that is regularly taught in there. But there's also authors such as H.G. Wells, who came up with the time machine in 1895 that helped kind of pave the way for a lot of this genre to take hold. So you've got like pop pulp science fiction that comes out in like the early 20s, 30s, 40s, and then the idea of like adventure and a distinct genre here. And then you've got like these technological advancements, ethical issues, moral dilemmas because of this like separation that we have from humanity here. In other speculative fiction pieces, you also have futuristic settings like outer space, subterranean Earth, post-apocalyptic, and there's also parallel universes in a lot of these. I'm not going to go over and show all of these, but on the slideshow, you can watch all of these because these are examples of futuristic settings that exist.
Only we can shorten the darkness.
Excuse me. Okay. Some other pieces. You've got The Martian by Andy Weir that focuses on a stranded astronaut's struggle for survival. Three Boy Problem by Lou Cixin, which introduces advanced scientific concepts. Also, there's things like iRobot. Um, there's things like Eye of the Minds and Ender's Game that all take on this idea of technological advancements. Also, a lot of these pieces take on ethical issues, moral dilemmas, individual versus society, and also the social and ethical exploration of technology and what the implications are to humanity if we go forward, like Brave New World with a dystopian future, and then Handmaid's Tale about societal control and gender oppression. Okay, so a couple things like some speculative fiction pieces. You got like science fiction. You've also got fantasy, which is the idea of mystical, magical elements. You've also got dystopia, which is considered a subgenre because it's considered to be like about if the future is just bad, right? And then you also have Afrofuturism, which is a speculative genre that kind of blends African diaspora with technology and futuristic imagination. And so Black Panther is a very good example of an Afrofuturist piece. Key things in Afrofuturism, you got reclamation of history, technological agency, ancestral connection, resistance and revolution, and cultural pride. A lot of Octavia Butler's work calls this back. Black Panther does this as well. So some of the authors, not all of them we will be reading, but Arthur C. Clarke, who wrote 2001: The Space Odyssey, Isaac Asimov, who wrote I, Robot, and he came up with the three laws of robotics, which is really fantastic for science fiction writers. And then we also have Octavia Butler, who is a speculative author who talked about future adaptations. Ray Bradbury, Philip K. Dick, and then also there's Ursula Le Guin. So for this week, um, what you are going to be doing is you are going to pick your very first book or play that you are going to be reading for your final. And then for our last week on a different literary genre, The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas is an annotation. And then you have your multimodal essay. If you have any questions, then reach out to me and let me know. The multimodal essay is not due until April 3rd, which is right before spring break. So I hope that that helps take off some of the pressure. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you later. Bye.